Welcome you to this afternoon's regular city commission meeting. Today is January the 22nd, 2024. We want to thank you for your presence and your attendance and hopefully your participation tonight as we attempt to do a little business on behalf of your city. We're going to start off our meeting with a prayer being led this evening by Commissioner Kevin Cottle, and that's going to be followed by a pledge of allegiance to the flag led by Captain Irvin from the Salvation Army, who's going to also do a presentation later on during our meeting. So, Commissioner Cottle, if you'll start us off.
Thank you, Mayor. Bow your heads if you'd like. Heavenly Father, we thank you again for the opportunity to gather here as free people to discuss the problems and business of the city. We would ask that you help us conduct ourselves in a way that's pleasing to you. Remember those who are less fortunate or in harm's way. And it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Come on down, ma'am.
Stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Don't be,
Yeah.
ma'am.
We got a door prize.
Oh, well, I love door prizes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Commissioners, you've had the agenda for tonight's meeting since last Friday. The chair would like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented or with any corrections or additions or deletions. Is there a motion, please?
I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving this agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say aye. Likewise, thank you. The agenda has been approved. The next item on our agenda tonight is that we are going to hear from the public at this time in our agenda. And at this point, you can be recognized, come to the podium, tell us your name, tell us who you represent, if anyone, and we will allow you up to 3 minutes to speak to the commission. It's a time where we listen. We don't really give any responses or answers. We just listen. So if you want to come before us tonight to talk about items that are on the agenda, now's the time to do that. Yes, sir.
Hello. My name's Eddie Compton, and I live at 133 Betsy Ross Lane in Betsy Ross Lane in Colonial Heights.
Yes, sir.
The last time I spoke here, I mistakenly said that the comprehensive plan it has a weakness in dealing with the rezoning that we're dealing with at Zero Ridgeview and Zero Candlewood. That was a mistake because the R1B zone does exist, and that is tailor-made for the type of density decrease or increase that we're going to see if this rezone goes through. The R1B would make it 8,000 square foot lots. It would be right on the 50% line if you do the math, and it would be right in line with the comprehensive plan as it's written. Otherwise, you know, we're going to have the greater than, I mean, it's close to 100% when you just compare it to Colonial Heights, the increase in density with the zone change. This would also ensure that if this property is sold after this zone change goes through, is voted on, if it is changed, this would ensure that those lots are protected as the larger lots. As it is, if this is not developed as right now, who knows down the road that once the zone is changed, it's changed. I know the plat does stay with it, but from what I understand, there's some leeway there when they go to submit final plats. The other thing, and I believe Mr. Mullins will speak more to this, is the need for this R1C. There is currently 37 acres that was rezoned in 2022 at St. James Court, or just up the street. 37 acres that went from R1A to R1C. That R1C property visibly has had no, there's nothing has been done. There's been no construction has started. If this need is so great for this type of housing, I'd ask why, has this not been started at least? And then, this is that zone change was also uncontested. And there's an entrance, from what I understand, it would connect to another road and also connects to 33. Also, this process has enlightened me on some things about the way this goes, and I would just ask, to please consider our neighborhood and the effect that greater than 100% density change could have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mullins?
Yeah, I made a mistake letting Eddie go first because he kind of stole my thunder. I live right next door to Eddie in Colonial Heights.
State your name into the record, please.
Oh, David Mullins.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and like I said, I live in Colonial Heights, live right next door to Eddie. I've spoken in opposition to this zone change many times now. I still feel that the zone change is a violation of the land use goals as they're defined in the comprehensive plan. And as Eddie pointed out, the data doesn't show that this is the type of development that's really needed for Danville and Boyle County. And as he mentioned, if it is truly needed, if that's the type of housing that we need, let's get to work building on St. James Place. We've got 37 acres there that has street frontage on the back side and the front side to Colonial, or out to Shakertown Road, and out the other end it has stub streets already there. What's blocking us from building on that 36 acres? Because by my math, you should be able to get more houses on 36 acres, and you can get on 32. I mean, we should get started building on that property and see if that's really the kind of need that we have. So, thank you for allowing me to speak. I don't have anything else to say tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. Is there anyone else who wants to speak about items that are on the agenda tonight? So here none, we'll move right along. I was trying to get the attention of some technology folks back there. This thing is on the blink up here, but let's go on though. Next item on the agenda is we're going to have a presentation by Captain Irvin, representing the Salvation Army.
Good evening. My name is Chris Head. I'm the Divisional Resource and Development Director for the Salvation Army. I'm with our divisional headquarters in Louisville, but Danville falls under some of the territory that I cover. My job specifically is to find resources and to raise money for the Salvation Army. But I'm going to stop right there and say, I'm not here to ask you for money. This isn't a sales pitch. I just want to share our partnership and our impact that we have here in Danville and invite you to become more of a part of the work that we're doing in your community. I have with me Captain Alyssa Irvin. Her and her husband, Judah Irvin, are the officers in charge of our Corps right down here on 4th Street. I'm sure you guys have passed it many a time, and hopefully you've stopped by at some point, visited the thrift store maybe. So we wanted to talk just a few minutes today about the work that we're doing here in Danville, some of the programs that we're introducing to help those in need in our community here, and just share a little bit of our impact. As you know, every time that the Salvation Army's name is mentioned, it always comes down to what are we best known for. And every time, it's the angel tree and those bells that we shake in front of Kroger every year. So we just finished our red kettle season, which we do right before Christmas. That money helps to fund our operation for parts of the year, but it also helps to deliver on the angel tree that happens around that time. This year, the need for the angel tree was up. It was up here in Danville, and we helped as many as we could. We did a little over 3,500 gifts, which went to 268 families, which was about 580 children that we were able to deliver Christmas to here in the community. And I'd like for Captain Irvin just to share a little bit about the angel tree impact.
Yes, as he said, my name is Captain Irvin, and my husband and I, we have been here since June, and we are the local boots on the ground. And this year, our Angel Tree program, it was larger than in years previous by about 50 to 60 families, which is equates to about 130 to 140 children. And but this year, every need was met. And even those in the community that one of their wishes for their children to receive from Christmas was a bed. You wouldn't think that, but we had one family who she had recently gotten her children back, and in order to stay within her goals with her social worker was to have a bed for each child, and so she asked us if she could put a bed on the list for the children. Her youngest also asked for a Barbie dream house. And thankfully, we were able to get all of her children beds, and the Barbie dream house was donated as well. You should have seen the father's tears as he saw the dream house come out.
It's always a good season for us, and we're happy to be a part of making Christmas for those in need. But I want you guys to understand that we're also doing a lot of other work here in the community. We're also having impacts in different ways. Last year, we helped almost 4,500 people in the community with different needs, whether it was utility assistance, rental assistance, food, clothing, furniture. Anything that we can do to help those without hope is our job. And last year, we were able to do that with almost, again, 4,500 people here in the community. The food that we have been giving out and delivering to those people in need has obviously increased in the past year and a half with the prices of groceries. We find ourselves taking on as many food donations as we can. That once wasn't a strong program for us, but now it's one of our strongest. It's one of the biggest needs here in the community. So we find ourselves doing a lot of feeding. We've given out almost 150 food boxes in the last part of last year. We did 275 Christmas meals for families, and we did almost $9,200 in Kroger gift cards that we were able to give out so people could shop for themselves and grocery shop for themselves. And so we find ourselves digging deeper into the community, trying to meet as many needs as we can, and partnering with as many people as we can here in the community. And again, that's why we're here tonight, because we want to share our impact and figure out better ways to partner with the city, to partner with leaders in the community, and to be of greater service to those in need. We are introducing and have introduced over the course of the past year and a half, 2 programs. Both are intensive case management based. The LifeNav program is for individuals here in the community who may be homeless, who may need different assistance, or as simple as being guided to get a birth certificate, get a driver's license, maybe buy a pair of work boots so that they can go to work. Our LifeNav program walks alongside of people. We invite them to not only receive the assistance from us, but let us help them, take them from crisis to self-sufficiency, and to find those roadblocks that are keeping them from self-sufficiency. Now, I will say this approach helps less people, but it solves more problems, and it gets people to self-sufficiency, and its job is to keep them there. Similar to the LifeNav program is our Pathway of Hope program. Pathway of Hope, again, is an intensive case management-based approach. It's based for families. So a mother and children, a mother and father and children, a father and children. Whatever that family makeup is something that we're investing time and our resources in, again, It's an approach, it's case management based, but it's goal set. As long as the families keep meeting goals and they keep improving on their situation, we will continue to help them and to continue to support them as much as we can. And so I'd like to, again, invite Captain to share a little bit about those programs.
Those programs can look like many different things. One of those programs, a Life Now program, can be transporting someone who is experiencing homelessness back home to their home state, giving them a bus ticket, or even as simple as my husband driving them to Lexington to get onto the bus. And then we, with our Pathway of Hope program, it goes a little bit deeper, and it could go from a family, a single mom of two, just trying to get her life back on track after a very difficult divorce, an abusive situation, and helping her refocus and not just refocus on the goals of life, but we also provide spiritual counseling for her and also help walk alongside her so that she doesn't have to journey alone. And then another thing that this can look like is a family of four who live in a single wide trailer and can barely make rent for that, much less a deposit to move, because there is mold growing in the front room that they have taped off and shut off, and now they sleep on the couch in the living room because they cannot afford to get on their feet. And so we love to come alongside and to journey with and to begin to write hope into the lives where hope doesn't seem like something that they can grasp.
We have many programs that happen down here at our community center. Right next to the thrift store, we have a very big gymnasium. Our administrative offices are there, but we also run a lot of our children's programs out of that center. These programs look different at different times of the year, whether that's a camp in the summertime, whether it's after-school programming, or whether it's just open play, where we just open the building and give the kids a place to come and visit and feel like they're safe and a part of something. So we also do some ministry programs, and I think you all have seen our disaster relief efforts here when there was floods and fires, and we've sent our canteens out with meals or whatever resources we could supply to the disaster. So I started this speech very simply. Again, I'm not here to ask for money. I am here to offer our partnership to figure out how we can better serve the city of Danville, whether that's with other nonprofit organizations here in town, whether it's with some city leads and what you guys are discussing here tonight and in your other city meetings. We love to be parts of those conversations if we can and figure out how we can better serve the community. So,
Well, thank both of you for those presentations. Commissioners, any comments or questions for these folks?
I appreciate what you do, and I like the fact that your collaboration is the key. I think, in Danville, we have a lot of people want to do good things, but they're sometimes not organized in one direction, so I think it's great that y'all are doing that. And my other question is, some people, all they know about Salvation Army is the kettle or donating, so that's still an important part. How does somebody donate to the Salvation Army?
ooh, that's a great question. If you want to give me their name, I'll show up to their house. There's multiple ways. There is a QR code right there on the back of the brochure. Website we take online, and I would mention here that anything that's raised in Danville, any dollar that's raised here within the zip codes that basically fall in Boyle County, stays here. It does not go anywhere else. Every dollar stays here. Every cent stays here. And 82 to 86 cents of that dollar goes straight to the program. We have the lowest overhead in the nation. I'd challenge anybody to come to those types of terms.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
How many kids are in, oh, sorry. How many kids are in the summer program or average, or do you know yet?
Well, actually, last summer, we took a break. We didn't have our summer day camp. This summer, we're looking at starting it with at least 35. But right now, for our youth programs that we do weekly, we have about 12 to 15 children that we walk with and mentor and teach character building to.
Yeah, my question paying off of Commissioner Caudell is, he asked about knowing more about what you provide. How do you get to some of those folks that, they're not finding your QR code, they're not getting these brochures? What's your reach out program?
I mean, as far as fundraising, there's multiple avenues. We have a mail appeal. We have clearinghouses that tell us who to mail to. It's a whole science behind it. We do spend a good amount on that. There is actually a resource development officer for this area. Right now, that's me, that comes in and visits with donors. It takes time to visit with cities, whether in civic organizations, Rotary, Kiwanis, whoever. And then again, there's different marketing strategies that come out of our office that send these type of things to the different donors. And really, it's, it's word of mouth. It's a small town. People talk to each other. We want them to have a positive impression of what we're doing. And again, tonight is part of those steps to make sure everybody understands, hey, we are more than just the Red Kettle. We're more than Angel Tree. And we're trying to do as many things as we can out of our service in the community center.
Anyone else?
One more question. Also, all the things that are donated to the store, that money goes back into the community, right?
Yep.
Or
It
to those
stays-
families you're helping?
Yes.
Okay.
Every dollar spent in the thrift store goes across the parking lot to the administrative office,
Yes.
which funds our building.
And my only comment, I'm glad to hear the summer camp's coming back, because there's a huge, huge childcare need. Last time y'all did it, we were standing in line outside the first day it opened
Oh, wow.
with about 10 others. Yeah, just to find summer childcare. So it was a real blessing, and I'm glad that's coming back.
Thank you. And we are, my husband and I, just to say, my husband and I, we have a passion for youth. And we look forward to finding more ways to serve those after-school care needs as well. Because I know due to COVID, we shut our community center down and we don't do after-school care anymore. But we're looking at ways to open that back up. And one of the major things is funding and staff. So we're praying about it, and we're hoping in the future to serve more youth in this city.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next on our agenda is we hear from the men of the line, Jessica Wigington? Yes, ma'am.
And I said this before the meeting, but I'll say it on the record that we work a lot through our counseling center, Danville Counseling Center with Salvation Army, and they are amazing. So I'm Jessica Wigington. I am the owner of Danville Counseling Center, and through the Counseling Center, we began to recognize a huge need in our first responder population. And so we began last year offering some different services to our first responders, and that evolved into a very clear need for more. So we have formed the nonprofit Mend the Line. Also not here to ask for any money, but just to introduce Mend the Line to the city, build some awareness. We are a nonprofit, so any donations are definitely welcome. But today we just wanted to introduce ourselves. I am the CEO, and then you can see our board members up here as well. So Sonia Kirkpatrick is another therapist that works with me. She is amazing. She has been an EMT for 20 years. I come from a family of first responders. My sister is a cop. My parents were volunteer fire and EMS. My mom did dispatch for a while. My husband there next to me was in corrections here at North Point and then up at Frankfurt. So very passionate about what we started. And so Sonia and I formed Mend the Line, and we've added our board members up here. Many of you might know Mr. Mike McCurdy.
Sketchy. It's sketchy.
Wonderful individual. He's our secretary. Rebecca Baugh is our treasurer. Ryan Kirkpatrick, husband to Sonia, is on our board. He is a captain at the Stanford Police Department and an EMT. Michael Mullins is with the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office and also an EMT. He's on volunteer fire as well. And then many of you may know Bridget. Miss Gilliland's been around for a long time, and she's amazing. And so that constitutes our board, and we wanted to talk about what we do. So we do in-person education. We go around to different first responder services, and we have put together It started out as a 3-hour class. We're almost always there at least 4 hours by the time we get some conversation and things in, educating about mental health on the job. So our emergency services, fire, police are dying by their own hand more than they're dying in the line of duty. This is a problem. And if it were a problem with equipment or training, it would be readily addressed, right? We would not allow that to continue. But because it is by suicide, the problem has just compounded for many years. And so we want to step in and really try and address that. So we do these in-person trainings, 3 hours. We've done some debriefings, gone to some symposiums, but we want to continue to do that and do more. And so I don't know where to point this. You can change the slide. I don't know if anyone has.
No, I said for the commissioners here.
So, up.
I think it's up there, yeah.
It may have been off. So before we formed Mend the Line, Sonia and I had gone around and where we are mental health clinicians, we don't get paid if we're not in the chair. I do want to say that. So Sonia and I donated our time to go and do these trainings just as something we felt was necessary. So we did several trainings. You can see there the 4-hour trainings at the different departments, many of them locally, and then a couple of other engagements as well. It was extremely well received. And on this next slide, you can see this is our course outline. And these wonderful gentlemen from the local came to talk a little bit about what the training was like because they were able to attend. But we really want to break down the barriers to mental health being discussed in departments. And that's not just police, fire, dispatch is included, corrections is included, EMS is included. They're areas where they're exposed to a lot of traumatic events. So us sitting on this side of the room, the statistic is we might experience 1 to 3 truly traumatic events in our lifetime. And I'm pretty sure these gentlemen over here could tell you sometimes they see that in a shift. And we're not really attending to the mental health needs like we should be. And so we're hoping through time to continue to do the in-person one-on-one trainings with our departments, but we want to secure the funding necessary to also do some wellness summits, which would be multi-day, more intensive programming for our first responders, and then also have a regional peer support team that Mend the Line would sponsor. So I'm gonna let these guys just say a brief thing about.
Good evening. We represent the Danville Professional Firefighters. I'm just going to give you a little history about the International Association of Firefighters. My name is David Spanier. I hold the position of Vice President at Local 4587 Danville Professional Firefighters. The International Association of Firefighters, over 100 years old, established 1918. Currently, nationwide, we represent 343 professional firefighters, career firefighters. There's over 3,500 local unions. We consider ourselves a local union as on the small level. We're represented by the international, the state, and the local level. In the state, the Kentucky Professional Firefighters are representing 43 departments, 43 local unions. Currently, we have about 16 members. Justin, he holds the position of treasurer in our local union. The vision and the mission that Mend the Line has, you will see in the near future to help many statewide responders. Many local EAP programs don't provide emergency service for mental health awareness or treatment. And what you're going to see out of Mend the Line is going to be pretty emergent treatment. They can get somebody in, they're going to be able to see responders and start getting them the help they need. I feel as if we have already seen locally in our city, in our county, in our region, they've already helped people that we know and got them the treatment they need. And whether that's locally, nationally, found a facility, they're doing really good things. Their class, unbelievable. They're really breaking the stigma, really trying to get the word out there that it's okay to talk about these things. First responders are known as being tough. Bad things happen to people, but on the inside, that's really not the case because we also are human. It's okay to talk about those feelings. And I can't speak enough from in the line. And they're going to be game changers in their field for sure. Thank you.
Justin Bergman, Local 4587, Danville, Kentucky Professional Firefighters. Going off of what David and Jessica all said, breaking the stigma is the biggest thing we need to do because, I mean, everybody calls 911. We're the ones who show up. Where's our 911 at the end of the day? So breaking the stigma is our 911. That's our help. Knowing that it's okay to actually talk about it. I was blessed to be hired by this city 3 years ago, and it was life-changing. Just by having the people that I look up to talk about it is huge, what it does for you. So it's, I've personally reaping the benefits of what this is, what goes on here. So just it's a wonderful organization. I think it's really got a lot to offer for us, and we love whatever support we were able to get. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we wanted to present to the city also to talk about the long-term benefits. Our priority are these guys, right? We want them to be in a well place all the way around. Spiritual, physically, mental health. We need them well so that when the tones drop, they can respond. Long-term, getting them the help that they need, being able to be their 911, results in better retention, right? Results in less divorce, right? Things like that that really can benefit the community as a whole, not just the responder. When we work with our police officers to resolve issues around PTSD, we might end up with less use of force, right? Because they're no longer feeling quite as on edge, things like that. So we really want to reach out and get knowledge countywide, statewide, but also to spread awareness that we exist and that we would welcome your support and you guys starting to talk about us as we are new to formation in August and we're really trying to get off the ground. So thank you for your time.
Is this a local chapter of a large organization or just
No.
you guys?
This is just us. We are very hopeful that this will be the first chapter of a very large organization.
Very good.
But right now, this is the vision of Sonia and myself.
Great.
I know y'all had a fundraiser in, I guess, at Halloween?
Yes, in October, everyone had a wonderful time. Mend the Line had not been formed yet officially. We knew it was coming. So the funds from that actually went to the Chip Terry Fund, which helps many, many of our local guys. Obviously, we can't talk about who or how many, but many. And Camp Hero, who the counseling center will be partnering with to do day-long mental health maintenance program. But Mend the Line wants to take that a little bit further and do a multi-day, really intensive mental health summit.
Other comments or questions? Well, it sounds intriguing to me, and we all agree that it's needed. One comment as you continue pursuing this is obtaining nonprofit status. If you
We have,
You have that? Well,
yes, we're a 501(c)(3).
let me see-
C3.
We'll put that on your literature, okay? Because that is going to be the question you're going to get asked, but great.
And y'all don't have a website, you just have a Facebook page?
We have a Facebook, and I think Sonia's done the TikTok. We have the domains for the website, but it is still being built.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you all.
Thank you for all
Thank
that you
you.
do.
Well, interesting. Next item is a CVB update. Mr. Clinton?
Good evening. It's always good to come before you, tell you what we're doing, let the public know what we're doing. As things slow down in the wintertime as far as visitation and activities, we try to take on projects that are hard to get to during the rest of the year. So This year, we took on a big one, which was to build a new website. CVB had had the same website since about 2017. So we contracted with a company called Red Pixel. They're out of Owensboro. They've done some other small to medium-sized tourism office websites in Kentucky, and I've worked with them before. So we went with them. They built the platform for us, and my assistant and I spent the better part of December, first couple weeks of January, just adding content. We had to put basically everything in fresh, not very much carried over from the old website. So last week, we got the last of it done and flipped the switch, and now Danville, Kentucky leads to an entirely new website, which I think we have here to show you on the screen. Maybe. Okay, so this is the new site. New video, it's just B-roll. There's no audio to it, just some clips we had filmed back in the summer when we had a video crew here over a few days, just showing some different locations in Danville, and this just is about a 25, 30-second video that just cycles through as long as you stay on it. And this goes back to the beginning. Most tourism websites are going to have the same kind of information: places to stay, things to see and do, restaurants, news, events. But we did add to the content we had on our website. Before, the only restaurant listings we had were just local restaurants. We didn't have fast food. We didn't have any of our chain restaurants. So we broke that down by category. And now when you go to our website, you can go to coffee and sweets, breakfast and brunch, bars and nightlife, 6 different categories here. So when you click on an individual category, it'll take you to a page where I have every single restaurant listing in town. You click on an individual listing and gives you their phone number, their address, website, and some of these we have photo galleries. We're eventually going to have photo galleries with all these. Most of them just have one photo, but we're going to have a photo gallery of the restaurants for each of these. And if you're looking at this on this website on mobile and you're looking at any listing that has a map, you just click on the pin on your phone and it'll tell you exactly how to get there from wherever you are at the moment, which is also a new feature on our website. Go back to the home page. Something else we've added, we had wedding venues on the former website. We got quite a few wedding venues here in town, but we didn't have anything for the meeting venues. So we get phone calls from people who are looking to host social events, meetings, a variety of different requests we get. So we decided to create a page that has listings for all the different meeting spaces in town, whether it's the Arts Center, some of the hotels have meeting space. We just went and took a tour of Camp Horson around. They're going to start opening up for rentals for outside events. So this will give us a place to point people when they call and say, where can we hold a reunion? Or we had a statewide group call us a couple weeks ago wanting to hold a statewide event here in 2024 in the fall. So this will give us something to point people to instead of trying to remember over the phone or just tell them verbally. They can just look here. To the best of our knowledge, everything is listed that's available as far as meeting space, but we have complete control over the content of the website. So if there's something we're missing, anybody notices it, whether it's meeting space, restaurant, whatever, we can get it added just in a matter of minutes. So we've already found a couple of things that we'd left off there. So we're keeping an eye on things in the initial stages to see if everything's working right and that everything is on there. Another new page on there is the experiences page, and this is something that'll grow with time. This is where we can put together kind of sort of like an itinerary for different interests. So this is kind of a blog post about the history of Danville, the history of Boyle County. This one talks about our distilleries. This is some of our unique restaurants in town. And then we've got a blog post about basically the arts community here. But we can add to this, and we will add to this throughout the year and coming years. We can do things on local cycling, the kinds of festivals we have here in Danville. So this will be a page that continues to be expanded as we move along. As I mentioned, the website's completely mobile friendly, so everything you see here you can look at on your phone. You hit the phone number, it just dials it for you from your phone. It's very, very user friendly. Like I said, the website's never really complete. We're always adding to it. We've got a nice events calendar that my assistant is pretty much daily adding new events to. You can just search it by scrolling down. You can do it by month. So if you want to know what's going on in February, just click on over. And then there's everything we've got listed for February. Right now, we've got events all the way through October. Anytime we hear about a new event, see it on Facebook, somebody emails us, we go ahead and just get it on the website and get it out there. So that's kind of the basics of the website. It's a good tool for visitors who are looking for places to stay, places to eat, but it's also great for local residents. I'm sure a lot of people look at it to see what's on the calendar. But like I said, the restaurant listings are great, and just a lot of good information on there. So that's been one of the big projects we tackled over the past few weeks. At the same time we were doing this, we were working on another project to hopefully increase our short-term rental collections for transient room tax. Right now, it's basically us to try to figure out who's out there by looking at Airbnb. Listings change on a regular basis. The listings don't give you any contact information, so we've tried to contact various hosts different ways, but it's just not worked out in our favor, and it's a problem that most tourism offices have. So January 1st, 2023, a new state law went into effect that required short-term rental hosts or short-term rental platforms to collect local transient taxes throughout Kentucky and remit those back to the appropriate offices. And as some of you may know, Airbnb has not complied with that, so it's been over a year. Back in December, the Kentucky League of Cities and the Kentucky Travel Industry Association partnered together and asked for a ruling that they be required to begin collecting this tax, which we've told will probably take 2 or 3 years to get resolved. So in the meantime, we're still not getting the full amount that's due. So what we did is we've partnered with a company called Granicus. They have the software and the expertise to help identify the listings that are on Airbnb, VRBO, HomeAway that we know are there, but we have no way to reach the host. They'll be able to identify a lot of the information that will help us get letters to them, help get them into compliance, and make sure everybody's paying their fair share. So we've provided them with parcel data from the PVA to show them the properties that are currently collecting. We do have some that do pay, and we know who they are and where they are. So they'll set those aside and then just focus on the ones that are on about 60 or so online platforms. There's quite a few out there. I'm not familiar with most of them. VRBO, Airbnb are the big ones, but there's apparently quite a few that people can list on. So they'll search those platforms on a regular basis, use their software and their knowledge, and they'll provide us a list of who's out there that's not on our list of people who are compliant. And then we'll hopefully be able to use that to get everybody into compliance. And then hopefully eventually Airbnb will have to comply with this state law, and it'll just become an automated process. So that was our other big project. That took quite a bit of work on our behalf to get all the data we needed for Granicus. A couple other things we're working on. Last year I went to the Heartland Travel Show in Cincinnati. It's a yearly travel show where we can go meet with tour companies that are looking for places to go. This year it's in South Bend, Indiana, so next month I'm going to go up there and spend 3 days meeting with hopefully 30, 35 different travel companies, tell them about Danville, Boyle County, and you get just a few minutes really to pitch your county. So I'll sit down with as many as I can. from last year's effort, I did have one tour company that came to town back in the fall. He spent about a half a day with me, went to several places, was very interested in what we had to offer, and getting them to town so we can show them firsthand what's here really helps more than the 5-minute presentation. So hopefully I can recruit some more people to come to town this year, see what we have, bring their tour groups here. The last thing I wanted to tell you about was filming. I've got 3 different projects right now that we're involved in. One of them is I was supposed to have a Zoom call today, it got canceled, but there's a national television show that has a series that I can't tell you too much detail, but they want to film here in Danville sometime in the spring. It'll be a 30-minute episode, part of a series of related content. So working on that. There's the music theme series that's going to be filmed in Boyle County at some point this year. We're one of 8 counties in Kentucky that are part of this series. Music themed, it'll be filmed all over the county. So we've been working with them, providing them information that they need to pick out filming locations. So hopefully we'll get that going pretty soon. And the last one, you all may have seen this on Facebook, American Pickers is looking for locations in Kentucky to film in March. So I've been putting together a list of suggestions to send them based on feedback I've gotten from people through Facebook and email. So I've got probably 5 or 6 places right now that I'm going to send to them. So any of these will help us, point a spotlight on Danville. So looking forward to all 3 of those projects moving forward and actually airing on TV. So,
Any questions or comments?
A lot going on.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I went to the city's website, and you're connected there. We can get from that to you. If they go to your site, can they get to the city site?
we don't link back except for in the individual listings. We might be able to put something on,
I
maybe
don't
like
know if that's,
we have an about page where
right.
we might be able to put it, like add a section here. City, the chamber.
Just for new businesses, yes.
Yeah.
Somebody that's interested, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, we could probably do that.
Other questions or comments? Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks.
Next on our agenda is a citywide proclamation in honor of Black History Month, and Commissioner Siri is going to read the proclamation for us.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do that. This is Proclamation Black History Month 2024. Whereas the month of February has been designated as Black History Month, and whereas February has been set aside for all of us to learn about and appreciate the history and contributions of African Americans and their tremendous effect on America and its way of life. And whereas the 2024 theme of Black History Month is African Americans and the Arts, putting a spotlight on the richness of the entire history of African Americans and the arts, which is infused with African, Caribbean, and the Black American lived experiences. And whereas prior to the American Revolution, enslaved Africans of the Low Country began their more than 300-year tradition of making sweetgrass baskets, revealing their visual artistry via craft, and whereas in the 1920s and 1930s, Black culture and Black American aesthetics began its ascent to becoming a dominant cultural movement to the world. And whereas in the 1960s, this thread continued through the cultural evolution known as the Black Arts Movement, where artists covered issues such as pride in one's heritage and established art galleries and museum exhibitions to show their own work. And whereas more than 30 years ago, the term Afrofuturism was used in an effort to define cultural and artistic productions that imagine a future for Black people without oppressive systems and examines how Black history and knowledge intersects with technology and science. Now, therefore, Mayor J.H. Atkins and the Board of Commissioners of the City of Danville do hereby proclaim the month of February as Black History Month on this 23rd day of January, and urge all citizens to join in recognizing the importance of Black History Month and the contributions of African Americans, not only in our city, but also our country, state, and nation.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion at this time?
I'll move to approve the proclamation for Black History Month.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving this proclamation, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you all. We have some young Center College students who are in attendance tonight, and they're at Center College doing center term, and they're the unfortunate ones, or the lucky ones who are not studying abroad this center term, and they're here to sort of watch city government at work. Are the four of you all still remaining? Are you all still all from the Boston area? And you all are part of Posse 35?
She's 17, me, him, and her are part of 18.
Oh, 5 of you right there. Okay. Well, I just want to say welcome to you. And final exams start Wednesday and Thursday? I'll be giving some up in the courthouse Wednesday at 11 o'clock. You want to come and join the mock trial. But wanted to say welcome. You all recognize the fact that you're all in attendance tonight. Okay? Let's move along. The next item is the approval of the minutes of the previous meetings. Chair would like to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting of 1/8/2024 as presented.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second. Excuse me. Second.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, comments, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, then all those in favor of approving our minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? Thank you all. Minutes are approved.
And Mayor, as I previously stated on the record, no fewer than 3 times, this will be my final night to recuse myself from this matter. Number 6 on your agenda. As I previously disclosed, there was a time that I'd represented the developer in another matter. I've had no regard to this issue before the city, but to remove an appearance of any impropriety, I'm going to remove myself from the chamber for its final consideration. Thank you.
I hate to see you go, but I understand.
Funny, I don't.
Mayor,
And what, and, yeah,
I would like to introduce our stand-in, which is Brian Bowman. He's been with the city commission before on this matter, and certainly is an esteemed colleague and somebody we think that can represent well.
we should have sent the city attorney out for pizza for everybody in the audience or something, right? He got his coat on. Okay, guys, the next item on the agenda is the second reading of ordinance 2025, the Heartland Ridgeville View Zone change. Chair would like to entertain a motion for approval or for denial.
I will, so if we approve, make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2025 for discussion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, would you read the ordinance for us, please?
This is the second reading of ordinance number 2025, an ordinance changing the zone from R1A, single-family residential, to R1C, single-family residential for approximately 32.484 acres, more or less of real property located at 0 Ridgeview Road and 0 Heartland Drive in the city of Danville, Kentucky.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any questions or comments from the commission?
I wouldn't mind making just a couple of comments and maybe a question to the attorney sitting in. I know this reading has passed once, but is it true to say that R1C is more restrictive than R1A in terms of what can be built on that property?
I can, in terms of the use, or in
Yes.
terms of building size. So the use is still consistent with what it is now in terms of single-family residential.
Right.
And it's typically considered low-density residential.
That's correct. The biggest, in terms of use, is that it does allow for a denser type of construction. However, the developer in this case did agree to do the single-family detached, which is the same style house in both Colonial Heights and also, so other uses don't apply, it's this use.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments?
If the developer changes, say the current developer doesn't develop and sells it, does his,
The condition follows, yes, the
Oh,
conditions
that was a
follows
question.
the zone change. And we've had that case fall before the city within the last 5 years as well. In an old condition that was from, golly, it was very old. It was like 20 years previous, carried through with the current zoning and land use, to confirm that for you. But
It runs with the land.
runs with the land, yeah.
Mr. Bowman?
That's the fancy legal term.
Oh,
Mr. Coffey was searching.
Yeah.
It does state in the ordinance that this is, agrees with the current comprehensive plan. That was a question that seems to keep coming up, but it's stated right in the ordinance, so we can't deny that. I'd also like to make a comment and ask for your answer. This is step one. If there's to go forward, there's still a development plan that has to go through as well?
Yes, sir.
As I did at your previous meeting, I want to caution the mayor and the commissioners that we're not conducting a public hearing tonight, so be careful about your questions and your comments. Are there other questions or comments?
The next step with the subdivision development plan, that would be signed off and actually controlled by the planning commission. And would the city also have to sign off on those plans to confirm?
Engineering would require the layout and geometry of the right-of-way, yes, and also water and sewer extensions and connections. And then certainly comment as requested by, on stormwater, but I failed to mention that, but on stormwater requirements, et cetera, but also provide feedback to planning and zoning as requested.
This states here that every lot adjacent to Colonial Heights will be 8,000 square feet, page 2 of 4 at the bottom. I just wanted to read that out loud. It was part of the ordinance.
Yeah, so that was one of the variations as you're bringing to light from the original submittal, was the lot sizes in the areas where they're adjacent to larger lot sizes, tried to align with those lot sizes.
And they're all 8,000.
I believe that's an
Okay.
accurate statement, yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
I still have the traffic concerns, but I think that that's something you all are going to look closely at, and I have confidence you'll come up with a good solution.
Yeah, the traffic's something we'll address during the plat process as well as during the development plan process, because layout will come into play when they do the subdivision, and then, the actual implementation comes into play with the construction plans. But that's something, I've thought about this a lot, that it's, whether we were doing 90 lots or 120 or 60 lots, we'd have some traffic concerns out there. So we're gonna figure out some solutions at that point.
Okay. And then those are figured out, and then you can sign off?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
See, thank you.
Maybe I shouldn't, well, I'm going to ask it anyway, because everybody knows I'm going to vote on this. Could one of the possible solutions in the traffic study be that we not allow a road, traffic to flow through Ridge View, to Colonial Heights?
Well, I hate to speculate on what the traffic study would say. I would say no. It would be, any traffic study is going to show to use both exits. Because if you limit it to one without using the other, you're really putting a lot of pressure on the one route that remains. Connectivity is always going to be a big part of any, traffic study result. It's going to say connect as many possible exits as possible to reduce that pressure. So I would doubt it. And like we've talked about previously, I think last year we talked a lot about this, that a traffic study is trying to improve the grade of the road, considering its performance with traffic flow. And that's not really our concern here. We actually want to reduce traffic flow if possible and constrict it so it's not moving quickly, because safety is our biggest concern, and cut-throughs in those kind of activities. So we'll probably be exploring a little differently than a traditional traffic study, and more of a traffic calming project that we try to reduce the amount of cut-through traffic and reduce speeds overall throughout the neighborhoods, which is something we try to achieve with all our new projects.
Connectivity is considered smart growth, honestly, but also it confirms opportunities for fire protection, for police protection, to have multiple points of access. And so those connections are critical to proper management of life safety responses.
And that's in the same concept of why we'll require those additional stub streets out of this new development, is that hopefully in the future we can connect in other places and have even more than this, just the 2 access points. We have 3, maybe 4, which really reduces the pressure on the other neighborhoods.
Thank you, sir. Other questions or comments? Hearing none then, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Caudle?
Yes.
Commissioner Peak?
No.
Mayor Atkins?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Holland?
Yes.
Commissioner Saris?
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Mr. Bowman?
A moment of levity. Thank you all for your continued support for Admiral Soccer. You all have a good night.
So you go
Sorry I couldn't be here last. My brother's the coach. That's why.
Oh.
Kevin knows
I thought you was going to say you were going to go out and get your pizza.
that. Nah, I'll go get the pizza.
Man, okay.
No, that's Sarah.
Little crack, but yeah.
Gotcha.
I have a son named Luke.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, let's move along. The next item is the city manager report. Mr. Coffey?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. We'll have a pretty light report with the weather and the MLK holiday, and then also the KBT conference last week. We didn't get, we would just like to footnote the regular meeting tonight, then the regular next scheduled meeting is the 12th. We'll update our event list over the next, before the next meeting, and have more dates as they become available for some other things. We mentioned further down into the update of a spring speaker event. We had scheduled one with KLC and the commission. We'll have to reschedule that. The speaker, Ms. Patterson with the KLC, couldn't make the date on account of the weather. And so we'll work through that. Would like to point out the DAHB reorganization into P&Z. That is scheduled for the meeting the 24th for planning and zoning to consider a text amendment. That ultimately will come back to you all to confirm that. So the idea essentially is nothing, we're not trying to reinvent to, some of you didn't necessarily participate in the original discussion with that. But the function of DHB works in the same way that planning and zoning does. And so administratively, having a separate board inside of the city commission that's tied to development really doesn't add to efficiency. And so the idea is that we relocate that responsibility inside of the same office as planning and zoning, so that when a developer comes in, if they're in the historic district, then that automatically triggers through their normal administrative process, the hearing of the DHB, and we're not trying to ferry a development across the hall to try to identify another meeting that they have to go through or another permit they have to get. So hopefully it aligns development a little bit more efficiently to their permit process. And so we'll hear more about that. Please anticipate that. It is on planning and zoning's agenda for the 24th. Additionally, you'll have an audit 23 update. It's on the agenda. Would like to point out that the Ireland Sister Cities trip, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to go. I couldn't confirm in front of their deadline because of a shoulder issue, frankly. However, we would like to point out that Commissioner Sirius is attending that trip, and I would like to request, not at his request, so he has not asked for this, but I would like to say that it is totally reasonable and that he's going overseas and paying quite a bit of money to support the Sister Cities program, that we provide him a per diem, that the city commission authorizes that. The per diem, I think, is maybe $53 or so a day. So it's not a significant amount of money given and compared to the expense of the trip overall. But certainly it's something that you all are eligible for when you're traveling on city business. And while he's covering his operating expenses to get there, he's not asking to be reimbursed for anything and didn't bring it up. What I would ask is that you all authorize staff to provide him the per diem expense for that trip.
Sounds reasonable. We need a motion?
I would like that, just to confirm for him. We've done it before when other city officials went.
Right.
And so that's not new. We've traditionally done that when we've had city commissioners go overseas a couple of different times over the years since I've been here. And the per diem is always given.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we allow Commissioner Saris the typical per diem on his trip to Ireland.
Second.
There is a second. Any other questions or comments about?
I just want to point out that when I worked for the state of Kentucky, our per diem was $14 a day. So there you go.
That's not very much.
It is not.
Well,
What was your hire date again, Commissioner?
18 for,
Naturally, I recuse from the vote.
what's that?
He's going to recuse.
Recuse myself from the vote.
Well, you might not pass if you don't vote, man. I'm just kidding. Okay, look, all those in favor of providing a daily stipend for Commissioner Siri as he travels to Ireland to represent the city, say aye.
aye.
Those opposed, congratulations. That might get you one meal a day while you're living.
Thank you all. You're very kind. I'll bring you a 4-leaf clover.
Yeah, it really should bring something back there.
Mr. Coffey, is that it?
All I have. Thank you.
Well, at this stage of our meeting, we hear the public for the second time. And this time, the public can talk to us about any items that they so desire. And I guess I need to preference this, things that relate to city business and to our local community. But you need to raise your hand, be recognized, and you can come up and speak to us at the podium for 3 minutes or less. And it's a listening session for us, again. So is there anyone that desires to speak to the commission? We'll put that mask up there then. Who are you? First, identify your name.
Margaret Calhoun.
All right.
I am committed to water splash, and I think it should be named after me. I done talked to one of them today.
But you notice why, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Even though it's Michael M. Smith Memorial Park, it ain't gonna hurt. Everybody knows that.
All right. I'm glad you heard me say we're just going to listen. We're not going to answer and respond, right? So don't be expecting no answer tonight. Sorry about that. Anybody else want to speak to the commission? Ms. Lewis, you want to ask her something?
They agree.
Oh, Ms. Lewis agrees?
The commission.
Oh, the commission does. Oh, well, if the commission agrees, there'll be an appropriate time for somebody on the commission to make that motion then.
Yeah. When we get done, have them down there take the pictures.
All right. Anyone else desiring to speak to the commission tonight? Hearing none and seeing none, let's move along then.
Can I talk about something else?
You need to come to the microphone, but I'm gonna call you. See that guy sitting back with that badge on his hip? I'm gonna let him call you out of order here in a minute. You wanna come to the microphone and talk to us?
I live in Crescent, and they never did road, but they clean Hardin Street.
Well, you gotta talk to the housing authority about that, city commission
Now,
dealing
it's
with
the
that.
city, I already found that, I talked to the fire department, they the one got somebody to clean my porch.
Okay, we'll refer to the proper authorities in the city then, okay? You talking about the street, not the sidewalks, what you saying?
Well,
You said the,
Linda said that they ain't cleaning people's porches and sidewalks. They went where the handicapped people are. Well, they got handicapped people in every site. I'm one of them. Got a ramp.
okay,
And if I fall, they gonna be sorry. But they clean. I got Mr., what was his name? Simpson. Like,
we're gonna go on, to have commissioner comments at this
Yeah.
time. And we'll, address their concerns. Commissioner comments?
I just want to say thanks to Public Works and the police and fire, everybody that was out for
Yes.
a week long in that cold, cold weather. And the water department for all the water breaks I'm sure they had, that they were out all hours. So I appreciate you all for doing for all that you do.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am, we all echo that one, right? Yes. Somebody wanna make a comment about the warming center?
I was going to let you were up there,
Oh,
but we were very thankful that there was teamwork opening the warming centers, and there were a lot of people up there. They had plenty of food. What did you see, Mr.
Well,
Atkins?
the shout out is that it was a city and county project. We did it together. It was just one warming center for the entire county, and the city and county did it together. And a shout out to Centenary Methodist Church, and really a shout out to all the volunteers in the community. I would say a shout out to, I will get this right, I guess, Melanie Crossfield, who represents the city on lots of these types of community activities. And of course, Donna's already said all the first responders, just really but it had 10 people there at one time, was the maximum number, was the highest number. Several people were there for the entirety of the session. Plenty of food, plenty of water, plenty of clothing. A lot of people got coats and lots of things. But the key is that we got it done. And we've learned a lot of lessons from doing this event. And there will be a meeting Thursday night at 5:30 at the Catholic Church. I call it a debriefing session where we talk about all the things that actually took place and how we get prepared for the next one. Is that right? Was it see if I could nod or hit it. It was Thursday night, right? Okay. So but there'll be a follow-up. And then as we continue with our own city discussion about homelessness, we will have a meeting sometime here at the end of January, the 1st of February, led by our chief of police and our city manager, and we'll continue that dialogue and get better prepared for these types of events. Okay?
Anyway, I just had a question, Earl. Well, I'll ask you later. Never mind.
I'll switch gears and appreciate all the accolades from my fellow councilman about the weather and the city taking care of it. I went to the Parks and Rec Board meeting. I saw kind of feedback on that. Live and well, going strong. Numbers are at their very highest. In fact, new problems are gym space, so those are good problems we have to deal with. The new director's doing a great job. Mark Morgan has considered to stay on as a chairman, who has really put the board together strongly and emphasizes the fact that this is Danville Boyle County Parks and Rec, even though it's a city employee that runs it. And accolades to Josh and his crew too. There's a lot of good movement going on, so I'm just letting you all know that.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Oh, I got to roll down, don't I? Okay. Next item is payment of the bills. Chair would like to entertain a motion to pay the January bill list.
I'll move to approve the bill list of $255,080.75 as presented.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, bills are to be paid. Next item is Resolution 2024-01-2201, FY Fiscal Year 23 Audit Engagement Letter. Ms. Compton.
Yes. So we had discussed a few times previously that the auditor that we had engaged for several years they were behind and they would not be able to get started on our fiscal year 23 audit and get it wrapped up before the due date, which is March. And so Earl and I explored some options, and we did not find a auditor that could complete the audit within that deadline for a reasonable price. We did get quoted a price that was very far outside of our budget to complete it timely. But we did find a different audit group that could complete it quicker. They're a larger firm that have a little bit more, have more resources essentially than the previous audit firm that we had been utilizing. And so we are requesting that you all approve this engagement letter, and we will be transitioning auditors to a new firm, Cheery Beckert. I'm not 100% sure I'm saying the last one right. There's too many vowels in it, but they have quoted us a price of total of $51,975 for the fiscal 23 audit, which is actually a $11,625 savings compared to the other audit firm. So while it's not ideal that, you don't always want to change audit firms, but sometimes that's necessary. And they have projected that they should have our fiscal 23 audit completed before the anticipated completion of the previous firm. So we are recommending approval of their engagement for fiscal 23 to continue on that path.
Lee, thank you. Sorry to interrupt you, I thought you were done. The key for me was the audit firm is going to get it done in the fiscal year we're in, so that we'll be able to consider the audit as we near the end of the fiscal year, before hopefully the budget is fully passed, so that any adjustments can be made, et cetera. The other catch is then that the next audit is going to begin theoretically on schedule, on the correct time. So we appreciated that, and their response seemed very professional, I know, to Lee and I both. And so then we'll definitely recommend proceeding and take your all's direction.
Okay.
I move that we approve Resolution 2024-01-2201.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of passing Resolution 01, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, thank you all. Next item is the first reading of ordinance 2026 of fiscal year 23-24 budget amendment. Ms. Compton, that's you again.
Yes. So we are in need of a budget amendment for a couple different items on our fiscal 23-24 budget. So the first item that we are amending the general fund for is, if you all remember, we have agreed to contribute some funds to a project that the EDA is leading, some property acquisition. And we need to amend our general fund budget to include that $340,000 that we have agreed to contribute. So that is item number one. That comes out of the general fund's non-departmental budget line. Item number two is the Streetscapes Fund. So we hadn't talked a ton about this, the budget process. You guys have talked a ton with Josh about the actual project. But in fiscal 23, because that project got pushed back due to weather and things like that, the actual project got pushed back. So essentially, the payment for the project also got pushed back. So while last fiscal year in fiscal '23. We budgeted about $7 million for the project. We didn't pay for about $1 million of it last year. So we essentially are moving that bucket of money from last year to this year. And we had planned to pay for that project out of the fund balance that we had built up over the years in the general fund. That's still the plan, is we'll be reducing that fund balance. But we essentially need to reallocate the money this year that was originally planned to be spent last year. The third item on our budget, which included in the packet for you guys, was I think page 5 or 6 of that PDF. It was related to our museum fund, which are expenses currently for the original old federal building. There has been, it's a small fund. In total, we only budgeted $37,827. We had some unplanned HVAC repairs that were necessary. And then, so essentially about an additional $15,000 we believe is anticipated to be necessary to get us to the end of the year. Those small budgets like that, any kind of unexpected repair, it's necessary to amend that. And then the fourth item is our parking fund. So we've had a few different things happen in this budget. We've had some additional health expenses. Those kind of things can shoot your budget up. We've had some additional contract labor. If you all remember, we did agree to a security agreement, and it got missed in the budgeting process. It just got missed. And there's some additional capital that it was needed. Some work on, I think it's repairs for water damage with an additional $15,000. So that's going to be required to be completed this year to protect the elevator at the garage. While this budget is larger than the museum fund, we originally budgeted $475,000. $270,000 of that is your debt service. So I just want to make that clear. The differences, that are because of this amendment, the majority of this budget total after the amendment, $544,000, is still your debt service. So those small increases to your normal operations can have a big impact on a tight budget, essentially. So in total, you would be amending the entire city budget, $1.5 million. The majority of which is the streetscapes budget at $1.1 million. What questions do you guys have?
So would like to confirm, though, before you get into questions, the county has contributed their half or their $340,000. So they've actually, they did that their last meeting, so we're doing it now. And so that's, of that amount, of the total, that's $340,000 into the EDA. For the PDI grant application, that's the Product Development Initiative, that's the Norfolk Southern site specifically, and is matched by the state grant.
Madam Clerk, you want to read ordinance 2026 for us, please?
This is the first reading of ordinance number 2026, an ordinance amending a portion of ordinance number 2012, which established the City of Danville, Kentucky annual budget for the fiscal year 7/1/2023 through 6/30/2024 by appropriating funds for the operation of city government.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion? Is there a need for other discussion? What's your pleasure, Commissioners?
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance number 2026.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Discussion?
We will, too, like to say that we'll add more of the commentary that she provided for the second reading, so that you'll see that a few days in advance.
I appreciate the information.
Yeah.
It's very thorough. Thank you.
And I tried to be clear on that. I should put page numbers on here, but it's the first budget page of the general fund. compared to our budget, the fund balance, because of those projects that didn't change, is significantly higher than we planned. So that's essentially where that additional funds come from.
You're trying to tell us we can afford this, right?
We can't afford to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, as it
And
relates-
we have to, matter of fact,
Yeah.
we just have to.
As it relates to capital, it really balances out that fund balance carry forward based upon the actual year end, what was invoiced, when it was invoiced, and versus where we're going to end up in the fiscal year we're in.
And just a note, we will have a Park and Rec budget amendment discussion for similar reasons down the road, but I wanted to take some more time with that one, just as a FYI.
You said it was a lean budget or something in your presentation.
Our operations are very lean. Our
Okay.
capital, the timing is important.
You said lean, then you said, oh, yeah, well, we can afford it. I said, well, okay.
We can't afford it.
I'm just checking with you. Madam Clerk, let's do a roll call vote on this one as well.
Commissioner Peak,
Yes.
Mayor Atkins.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Holland,
Yes.
Commissioner Saris,
Yes.
Commissioner Cottle.
Yes.
I thought you were going to tell us it's in the red or something. What's that? It's not loud. Oh.
Take 5.
Before we take 5, let me, Commissioner Peak gave me a homework assignment. She just slid it over here. In commissioner comments, we should have mentioned Mr. Maricus Lofton's speech and the ML King holiday program that took place Monday on ML King Day at Danville High School. It is on the city's website, Facebook page, it's out there on social media. Okay, but please go out to those in attendance, but also to those who are going to watch this later on in the week. An outstanding presentation by an outstanding son of this community, Mr. Maricus Lofton. Oh, sorry, Attorney Maricus Lofton. Is that okay, Ms. Donna? All right, can we take 5 minutes? Yes, ma'am. You.
I probably should have said something a few minutes ago on that Martin Luther King,
Yeah, come on up here, ma'am.
on that, Glow Lewis, on that Martin Luther King Day. Who canceled this?
Oh, okay.
Did it, I can't remember, did it snow? Yeah. Okay. But when I started watching the speech,
Yes, ma'am.
I was under that it was canceled.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
And then you see
Yes, ma'am.
people there.
Yes, ma'am.
I can understand canceling the walk,
Yes, ma'am.
but by that being indoors,
Yeah.
but we should have had made our decision if we wanted to go, but
Yeah.
after they said it was canceled, what does cancel mean?
Yeah, you're right. No, it was the city made the decision to cancel it. And what happened is that he has such a large family, a large following that we ended up at the high school, we was just gonna videotape it, but we did not want to tell his family and his friends he couldn't come in. It was really, the whole thing was
Okay,
canceled.
so,
Yeah.
It was really converted, Ms. Lewis, it was
Yeah.
really converted to virtual
Yeah.
with
yeah, I can
limited,
understand, I can
yeah.
understand
yeah,
that
with
too.
limited
But I
attendance.
should
yeah.
have had my own decision of whether I could go or
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
But the reason I didn't go,
Yeah.
it was canceled.
That's right, you're right. No, yeah. Yeah. It was really canceled.
Yeah.
And when it was canceled, the choir was at Danville High School. He was at home and he called and said he still wanted to do something. And so we just rallied around a few people at the high school and said, let's do this. And I guess because of
Okay.
his family, they just started calling people. So
Ms.
is-
Lewis,
yeah.
you have a good point. That
Yes.
The committee, the original committee canceled it as the steering committee of the event. And so we were trying to communicate and react to that. But to your point, that's the first time that committee really has ever had to take any action like that.
Okay.
And so what's important for us is that we've heard you. And what we'll do with Ms. Crossfield, and we'll sit down with that group, the chairman of the committee at least.
Well, it
and-
hurt me.
And I could totally,
I was totally hurt.
Yeah.
I wasn't mad, I was, well.
but
I was mad,
what we'll do is we'll go back and revisit how we made that decision and how we communicate outwardly.
And let me know.
And then,
Yeah.
right, and that,
It's
what,
nothing I can do about it now.
administratively and functionally, your request is heard and we understand, and
that's right.
we could have done that,
Appreciate it.
and we appreciate the feedback, yeah.
Did you run across TV like everybody else? To let people know?
Yeah, things like that, we need to talk about and figure out how we're gonna do that in the event that something like that happens.
Understand, Lexington and Louisville marched anyway. We could have marched anyway, no matter what the weather was. For him.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Lewis.
Yeah,
We'll
thank you.
do it better. get this meeting completed, so let's do it, right? Oh, wait, Marshall Carrier, that's why you didn't leave. You next
Yes,
on the
sir.
agenda, right?
Still here, yep.
All right, sir, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. This first agenda item is our utilities department received multiple bids for a new earthwork excavator. This is just a piece of machinery that's critical in water and sewer line repairs. It has rubber tracks, enhanced displays, increased fuel economy, air-conditioned cab, and so on and so forth. It's just an improvement on what we have right now. The piece of equipment that we have now has probably got over 3,000 hours on it, so it's really reached its useful life, essentially. And plus, we've experienced some increased maintenance costs in recent years, so it's a critical piece of equipment. So, you know, if it
Okay.
goes down the field when we're in the middle of a important water line repair or something in the middle of the night, we'll have issues, so.
Okay.
We received 5 bids ranging from $75,050.63 to $99,825. And the staff recommends award to Central Equipment for $75,050.63.
Whoa.
Was
Is
that?
there-
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask if there's a motion, I was gonna ask.
Oh, yeah, I'll make a motion. Move for approval of resolution 2024-012202.
Wow.
My
Is there a second?
question is.
Is there a second?
Is that?
Second.
Is that within the budget?
Yes, sir. We have that in the capital line item, 60-6500-9203. We have a little more than that, actually. So.
Okay, great.
Wow, twice tonight, Cottle. Any other
Sometimes
questions?
I feel like a grown-up.
We have one now, right? Will that be surplus?
Well, what we plan to do, at least in the short term, is make some modifications and fix it and keep using it, because we can use that for sewer crews as well, and see how long we can get it to last before we have to surplus it, more or less.
Wow, okay. Been properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. Marshall, the next one, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the first of 3 utility easements that were needed for acquisition on behalf of the city for the US 150 corridor, Paravel Phase 3 water line project that's currently under construction. This is just a typical 12-inch water line installation. This would be a 10-foot wide utility water line installation easement.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2024-012203.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
No, unless, can we group them together? The next 2?
They are each unique. I'd rather you deal with them separately.
They are,
Thank you.
okay. Thanks.
All right. So all those in favor of 012203, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Marshall, the next one, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is yet another utility easement. Somewhat of a similar situation, but however, this is 2 different groups of owners. Helm, you got John Helm, Kendra Helm, and Donna and Bruce Helm on this one. This is actually a parcel on the south side of the construction corridor. And like the others, like the first one on the agenda tonight, this has compensation for the acquisition of the easement itself.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I move to accept resolution number 2024-01-2204.
Second.
Thank you, Will. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Marshall?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the third easement on the agenda. This is also Donna and Bruce Helm solely on this one between those owners in the city of Danville. This has a compensation for the linear feet of easement, but also has, in the resolution, it states compensation for crop loss.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-01-2205.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir.
I did want to add that this is a bit unique in what we have before due to the circumstances of crop loss. The city typically, is in the business of paying a small price per linear foot of whatever is being installed. However, in this case, a unique situation with the property owner in which they was it alfalfa, Marshall?
Yes.
Alfalfa, and from what we learned, that there was a particular disturbance of the ground, that the alfalfa actually won't germinate this growing season because of the construction. It takes, I guess, 2 years or something for it to reroot and grow, as we've learned. So while that's not a typical request, we felt it in order to make the property owner whole, that it should be included. So we just wanted to point out that it is unique. It's not something the city typically pays for, but the circumstances and facts dictated it in our recommendation.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion? We do. Do we have a motion? We do? And a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, those opposed? Motion carries. Marshall, you're up again.
Thank you, Mayor. If you all recall, the city was granted a $1.99 million EDA grant for the Lebanon Road Phase 2 sewer project. This is, on January 4th, 2024, the city received 2 proposals for assistance with federal compliance regarding the administration of that EDA grant for the sewer project. This includes compliance with federal regulations, standard terms and conditions of the construction project, and meeting criteria set forth in EDA's specific project awards conditions, Exhibit A, which is also attached herein. Essentially, what that comes down to is hire a consultant to administer the program and the funding revenue for the project.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-01-2206.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
I was just going to mention that the reason we hire somebody to do this is because doing it in-house would be more expensive. You'd have to have somebody that did that all the time.
Well, and lots of times with a federal grant like this, it's mandated that you have to provide reach out for
Another
additional
third
services
party.
on a competitive basis. And then you have to show proof of that competition, which we did in the packet. So that way, a lot of that similar paperwork is going to be provided to EDA to show that it was done competitively in an open market.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And you said it was 1.9 million?
That was the grant.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks. Wonderful. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Great news.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I'm sorry. What? All those in favor of making a motion to go home, Rick? Okay, let's move along. Next item on the agenda is the Central Seal ROW agreement. Josh?
Yes, thank you. In your packet, you have an agreement from Central Seal out on Inland Drive. There is a section of unimproved right-of-way to the south of their property they would like to utilize for additional parking. They have prepared this agreement with the city, so they will be able to use that. The main things for us are they acknowledge that the city will not need to spend any money on this project for them, and that if that right-of-way ever needs to become a street, they relinquish use of it at that time. And any improvements they have made will just be torn out and replaced by a city street. So we recommend approval of the agreement as presented.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2024-01-2207.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay. Next one, Josh, is yours again. Jenny Rogers.
Yes, in your package, you have a small list of items that we would like to surplus out of the Jenny Rogers kitchen. Includes a couple double sinks, a steamer, a warming cabinet, and the big item is the walk-in fridge and freezer. We're needing to remove those for a couple of reasons. One is that if the pool continues to move forward, they'll need to be moved for that reason. But also, during the project we're in now, the building inspector is requiring that if we keep those, that we sprinkle them, which it's hard to wrap your mind around if you think about it very long. But that was going to be a $30,000 change order, which we didn't think was really a good use of money for a cooler and freezer that were staying empty the majority of the time. And we don't really have a long-term use for those. The child care is not planning to prepare food there. So we don't have a really use for something that large. So we've included those in the surplus list as well. And we will dispose of these by auction on GovDeals.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I move to accept resolution number 2024-01-2208.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Josh, you're up again.
Yes, you have another list of items for surplus. Over the years, we've accumulated a couple of playgrounds that we've removed to put in new playgrounds. And then also, we're getting ready to install several new playgrounds, which is going to require demolition of the existing playgrounds. So we have a list here of, I think it's 6 total playground sets and a couple of swing sets. We're going to auction these off on GovDeals as well. We're still trying to kind of figure out the format of this, if we're going to batch them together as one group or separate them out. We want to provide them in a way that, local folks can bid on them. We've bounced around the idea of some different charity organizations that could utilize them, but Stephen and I have talked to this. The first step is we have to try to auction them off in a public auction. And if that doesn't result in good bids, then we can explore some other options to donate them to charities or other groups. But it's the playground and swing set from Millennium Park that is where we've installed the ADA playground near the large pavilion. We've got that down at the garage. The playground from Jenny Rogers is down at the garage. It had a lot of age on it, so it was removed as part of the initial project there. So upcoming, these we will surplus in a way that the buyer will need to come to disassemble them and take them apart and remove them from the site, because we have the 2 playgrounds, a swing set, and this climbing structure at Michael Smith. Those will be replaced by the new project that's under construction. And then the playground at Cowan Street Park is getting replaced very soon, so we need to get that removed. And then the playground on the 6th Street end of Jackson Park will be replaced soon. So that's 3 new playgrounds that we'll be installing. Michael Smith has already started, but Jackson Park and Cowan Street Park will be starting soon as well. We already have that equipment at the warehouse of the installer ready to go. So yeah, we need to auction off those 6 playground sets and a few also swing sets to go along with it.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
Move that we approve resolution 2024-01-2209.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. Is there any thought about talking to some of the cities within our county about trying to give them a good deal on this? Perryville, Junction City, Forkland, et cetera.
Talking to the playground installers that we utilize, they have a lot of concern about these old playgrounds, taking them apart, putting them back together, and meeting current code requirements and construction requirements for them. That's what we've actually talked about. There's a little bit, how much liability are we under? Maybe Stephen could jump in a little bit with this, of when we get rid of these, what the new user does with them. We have some concerns about that, especially when we talk about, selling them to another local city. And honestly, several, other than maybe the one that was taken down from Millennium Park, the rest of them are in pretty poor shape.
We were concerned about the liability of, obviously, either donating to another governmental agency a piece of equipment that's outlived its useful life, particularly ones that kids will utilize or may not meet current codes. And so there are alternate forms of disposition in the event that they aren't auctioned off and purchased by someone who can actually refabricate them in a manner that's safe. And actually, that was the initial idea, that there are some donation programs of playground companies that will accept poor equipment back as kind of like a trade-in, but it wasn't clean enough that we could do it under the law as the way it reads today. Like, it's not like trading in a vehicle like we used to do with police cruisers all the time or whatever. Because it was like an ancillary arm, they were kind of serving as a charitable wing, and the city can't just donate to charity. So we have to go through this process. If no bids are received, there may be a better way to dispose of the equipment, but we can't get there unless we go through this hoop.
Okay.
So we need to entertain a motion.
We already did. I
You
think.
have a motion.
Right
you
here,
just
one,
need a
and a
vote.
second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Chief Gray, come on up, and before he does, we have 4 EKU students in our midst this evening, and there are 4 college seniors. Come May, they'll be certified deaf interpreters. Did I say that right? Licensed? She started laughing at me. We want you, bro. Well, congratulations. One more semester. And hope you come back and spend some time with us.
I'm sorry about your instructor.
Yeah. He made his 2 good comments tonight, then he had to go there, didn't he? All right, Chief Gray, let's go.
I think before you all have the resolution there, 2024-01, 2210, reference to the highway safety grant application. It's our usual highway safety grant application. So I think this year we applied for 10,000, or we are applying for 10,000. This is for the seatbelt, all those traffic initiatives that we try to do that go from the spring to the fall. So it would be for that grant period coming up. This could help, with traffic enforcement for once the new subdivision gets started, things like that. If we get complaints, we could send officers out on overtime to those areas where we get complaints about traffic, and it's 100% reimbursable overtime.
Great. It's your pleasure, Commission.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-01-2210.
Thank you, ma'am. For a second. This is a 100% grant, no match. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, say likewise. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and appreciate all your help and all your work this past weekend, just like always, but, man. Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
We need an executive session for
They all started
personnel.
laughing. All right, the chair will entertain a motion for a very, very, very brief executive session. Died for lack of a motion. Let's go on.
Doesn't matter. I'll make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matter pursuant to KRS 61-810-1F.
Did you write that?
Second?
Oh. All right, properly moved in second. All those who favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Staff, is there anything for you guys to report to us tonight?
No, sir.
Chair, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All right, we adjourn. Thank you, guys.